Great reaction for John Finnegan. Not so good facing the hard camera, but be that as it may. This is going to be a sleeper matchup. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing first, he's the self-proclaimed greatest independent talent in wrestling today. Weighing in at 231 pounds and hailing from Corinthos, Greece, he is the Greek god, Demetrius Papadon.
The Greek god has also been known as the Extreme Technician here in Extreme Rising, and with good reason. It's hard to argue with Papadon's claims of being the best unsigned, the best independent wrestling talent in the world today. Papadon, he's got the athleticism, he's got the build, he's got the confidence, he's got the track record. A man that's won championships all over this part of the country, a winner of the famed ECWA Super 8 tournament, a man that won and wore their heavyweight championship longer than any man in the past 15 years. Papadon has left broken records everywhere he's gone.
Making his way in the ring at this time, please welcome El Hijo De Rey Misterio.
The nephew of the original Rey Misterio Sr., the cousin of the famed Rey Misterio Jr., known all over the world from his work in WCW, WWE, and of course here in ECW. Rey Misterio, the legacy is well known all over the world. And I'll tell you this, I think it's so great that Hijo De Rey Misterio is following a similar path as his cousin. It was back in the mid-90s when Rey Mysterio Jr. along with men like Psychosis came in and really revolutionized the high-flying style in this country. Before they were doing it on Monday nights, they were doing it right here in the former ECW arena. And now back to this building with a whole new chapter of Extreme Rising making its debut. We get to see Rey Mysterio reborn.
Yes, Extreme Lucha version 2.0. Definitely the future of Extreme Lucha Libre. It continues here in Extreme Rising. And yes, 20 years ago, it was pivotal and definitely was an influence on cruiserweight divisions, light heavyweight divisions, Super Astros, and everything that happened on Nitro and Thunder. And yes, everything, it started, all of the Mexican wrestlers that were brought to the United States, it was all from Extreme Championship Wrestling and Extreme Lucha Libre.
Can't believe you watched Thunder, Joel. Be that as it may, collar and elbow tie-up. This is advantage Papadon. No mistake about the fact Papadon's going to have the size advantage.
Papadon has a size advantage and utilizing it now, although Mysterio is, his aerial assault is unbelievable. I mean, if you don't ground this guy and you really don't have him incapacitated, the height advantage or a weight advantage almost doesn't matter.
You're going to see more of a direct Lucha Libre influence from Hijo De Rey Mysterio than you see from his cousin, as John Finnegan finds one. This particular incarnation, Hijo De Rey Mysterio, has primarily made his career in Mexico still, Tijuana to be specific, along with a number of our other Extreme Luchadors, and has really caught fire here in the United States throughout the past year plus. So we're going to see a lot more unorthodox nature out of Hijo De Rey Mysterio as he still carves his niche in professional wrestling. You notice the mask is very similar to Rey Mysterio Jr., and we want to point out this is not Hijo De Rey Mysterio's attempts, or certainly not Extreme Rising's attempts at ripping off anybody else, at cashing in on anybody else. This is an entirely different entity who is following in the footsteps of his family and paying homage to his family. Actually, the eagles that you see on the mask of Mysterio is the trademark of the family, and he's manipulated those eagles to several different designs, different shapes, and really wants to make the Rey Mysterio moniker his own and really adopt it as his own into a new generation, a new fan base, and certainly new territories.
Right.
Couldn't do without you, Joel. Papadon wants a test of strength.
Did you know the Greeks invented wrestling?
I see you've been talking to Papadon.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you didn't know it, just talk to Papadon. Every aspect of wrestling. Every aspect. You know, I mean, let's say you believe wrestling is some sort of sports entertainment. You know, because they created theater.
Okay.
And they also created wrestling, right? Like Greco-Roman wrestling.
Yes.
His direct ancestors. So he believes, hence, that he is the best person to exemplify Extreme Rising, and he should be their champion, and he should be the top wrestler in the company because it is the Greeks who invented wrestling.
And to that point, Papadon, correct me if I'm wrong, feels that the Lucha Libre style, as Papadon gets a cover for one, the Lucha Libre style and the influence they brought with Mexican culture, with the masks and the flashiness, Papadon feels that is a direct disrespect of the lineage and heritage of the Greeks.
Oh, no. A perversion.
Oh, excuse me.
And believe me, I know perversion. You should have been in my apartment last Thursday.
I don't think I should have been there, actually. Mysterio with a counter hurricane run, and nicely done. Papadon didn't see that one coming. Mysterio cannot outpower Papadon, but he can out-leverage him. Weight positioning so important to a man Mysterio's size. Mysterio creates some distance. Springboard drop kick, picture perfect. Papadon lands hard.
Una silla. This is the move in lucha known as la silla.
That's Rosetta Stone on tape with Joel Gertner. And Papadon, you can see he's got a faraway look on his face. Perched right in front of legendary ECW fan Hack Guy. And he almost got an up close and personal view. But Papadon sidesteps out of the way. Check out the quickness. Wow! Papadon just can't keep up. Mysterio trying to regroup while he's got the Greek god dazed. This 28-year-old, 6-year pro Mysterio has come on so strong and learned so much in a short amount of time. Papadon saw it coming. And Mysterio hits hard on the edge of that ring frame. That is where metal meets wood. It is the hardest part of a ring. There is no give in that part of the ring. And Mysterio's forehead just bounced off of it. Now Papadon's turn to take over. What Papadon loves to do is out-endurance you. I'm not sure if there's anybody in Extreme Rising better conditioned than Papadon to go the distance.
No, he's in fantastic shape.
Papadon knows he does not want a running game against Hijo De Rey Mysterio. Again, creating distance. Smart maneuver by the luchador. Enables so many different avenues to open up. Springs in with the head scissors. Papadon to the outside again.
Oh my God.
I think a mistake of Mysterio there is he keeps going to that steel chair as an offensive weapon. Papadon keeps countering, keeps finding a way out. And you can't keep going to that same well, as the old cliche goes, and expect it to pay off.
These guys are really laying into each other.
I could be about to eat my words. I hope I am for the sake. Oh my God!
And as we see the original hat guy, a personal landmark amongst Philadelphia area wrestling fans, as they were showing him, I was thinking to myself, you know, not everybody can come into this building and just because they're here elicit this kind of vibe, this kind of feeling that's in the building tonight. This is just another example here at Unfinished Business, just another one of, I refer to this event as having multiple co-main events. It was like every announced match in advance was a co-main event, and this is one of them right now.
Mysterio, too many high risks. Papadon catches Mysterio with the drop kick, and all that momentum of Mysterio works against him. The air rushes out of the body cover. John Finnegan finds two. What a great tope con hilo that was by Mysterio, landing right on that chair. Nowhere for Papadon to go again. Sandwiched between human flesh and steel. And Papadon maybe going for a knockout shot.
Yeah, as if he hasn't been already. I mean, they've both been.
And check out this, the ultimate sign of disrespect in the Lucha Libre culture. Papadon looked like he was trying to remove Mysterio's mask.
Basically considered assault in the Mexican wrestling world. It's at the very least considered a foul. It will get you disqualified south of the border and is the utmost display of disrespect.
Yeah, those in the Lucha Libre culture, they take those masks so seriously, it becomes their identity. It becomes one with them. If they take the mask off, it's like you've lost your identity. It's like you don't belong anymore. And many people that lose mask matches are shamed out of the professional wrestling business.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's Papadon's end game. You know, he's got so much disdain, I think, for El Hijo. There he is again. He's going right back to it. He's all over that mask.
And if you're Mysterio and you're more focused on keeping your mask on than actually competing, that's going to be a major psychological disadvantage.
Yeah, it's definitely a handcuff, and it's definitely an obstacle when you have to worry that that's something that your opponent is not just willing to do, but attempting to do for sure.
Papadon sends Mysterio to the outside. Mysterio trying to create some distance again. He knows his strengths. Credit to the young man. But Papadon giving chase. Jeez. That impact speaks for itself. And Papadon playing to his strengths. It is slow, it is methodical, it is calculated, it is systematic dissection of Mysterio. Very smart strategy, smart wrestling match by the Greek god Papadon. Say what you want about his opinions, about his beliefs, about his history. Papadon backs up almost everything he says.
Things have never looked brighter for either one of these wrestlers. They're both right now at the highest level that they've ever been personally in their careers. They're both looking to take that next step. They're both looking to show every night that they are the best and that they can only get better. And it's a battle on many different levels. This right now is a battle of wills.
Papadon has that chin lock cinched in tightly. Notice Mysterio completely horizontal, maybe unconscious. Mysterio has no leverage to try to get out of this. That arm drops 3 times, it's over. But Mysterio trying to shift his weight, trying to stay alive. You can see how tightly that chin lock is cinched in. Papadon senses the momentum begin to change, goes back into a chancery, but only for a moment. Hard back suplex.
Papadon giving it his all and hoping that that's going to be towards the last of what he needs to do to accomplish his mission of beating El Hijo de Rey Misterio, because how much could he possibly have? Look how fatigued he is. Because wrestling is not played in rounds like boxing, like MMA. It's not like that. It's been 10, 12, 15 minutes.
Well,
and they're both exhausted.
Notice a moment ago when Mysterio tried to run, Papadon shut him down. Learned from his mistakes, but then Papadon tried to run, and it played into Mysterio's playbook. And now it's Mysterio mounting the offensive. The man Mysterio, who actually played pro baseball in Mexico, decided to train for wrestling in the offseason, and at that point he was bitten by the bug, became a natural at the game, discovered the family history, discovered why his family loved this so much and that he had the genes, and pursued it and never looked back to baseball again. And Mysterio could be the hottest new star in Extreme Rising, regardless of Papadon's views. Oof. Series of strikes strung together. Near fall situation, Papadon gets the shoulder up.
And again, these guys are so fatigued. Like, that's not the kind of cover that's going to put Papadon away. But that's all he had at that moment in the tank.
Mysterio's rise in pro wrestling in Mexico, so meteoric. Wrestled the first 3 years of his career under another identity. He was known as Horus. He had to earn the Mysterio name, but he certainly has, and he's lived up to it in my estimation.
Without question.
Popping out with a neck break. Oof. That European-style uppercut catches you from behind. You can't brace yourself. Can't see it coming. This matchup starts to open up a little bit more. I think both men can sense the end is near. Fatigue, you mentioned, Joel, playing a factor. No dice on the DDT. Pace quickens. Mysterio twisting DDT. Can Mysterio get the cover? Papadon may be out. Got two and no. And again, the body contact, the hooking of the leg. Attempting to pin again. And Mysterio just doesn't have the body weight to hold Papadon down. He needs to perhaps cradle him, perhaps take him over, perhaps catch him off guard. But the standard cover like that is not going to be effective.
Yeah, he's going to need to utilize some leverage, or use Papadon's momentum against himself, or
throw first in that ring cable. Mysterio was dazed, and that interruption of breathing this late in a matchup, ultra important.
Yeah, even if you're winded momentarily, even if you can't breathe, you're having trouble breathing for 60 seconds, 90 seconds, it doesn't matter, because that's going to be the end of the match.
Mysterio got the knee to counter the suplex, but right into a backbreaker. Oh, Papadon so great with high-impact combos and a near fall. Papadon has about 5 or 6 different ways to put you away. He's so well-versed.
And he's used 3 or 4 of them against El Hijo de Rey Misterio, and those haven't worked yet. Question's going to become eventually, what's it going to take for either of these guys to beat the other one?
We talked about the endurance of Papadon. Certainly Mysterio doing his best to live up to that. Papadon soaking in the scenery. Thinks he has Mysterio where he wants him. Think again. Struggle in the corner. Sunset flip. Papadon, footwork countered. A huge collision center ring. You can feel the impact. You can see the sweat fly. Papadon and Mysterio back at square one.
Each man having an unbelievable offense, but also the other possessing great defense, and vice versa. These men being such equals, such parity. If you didn't know it from watching the last 30 or 45 seconds, then you know it now. These men are, because now you see him. Now you see Papadon breathing heavy and wondering, what will it take?
And this is young, untapped talent. You will not see in any other promotion like you will here in Extreme Rising. Certainly we respect the past, but certainly we look forward to the future as well, because we have such a hungry crop of young talent. And these two men are leading the way.
Well, yeah, because these two guys, you know, we were talking earlier about how Homicide has the experience, but also the youth. These two guys, it's not the past and it's not the future. These two guys are the present now, and they want to take the next step.
Back suplex countered. Go behind, standing side switch by Papadon. Paddle counter roll style. Has the trugs, thankfully, could not be enough to trap the shoulders. Flying uppercut. This is one of Papadon's many ways. He's finished men off with this before, but Mysterio will not be one of them. And you can see the frustration on Papadon's face that he could not finish the job.
Yeah, you can see just what we can see outwardly, visibly, psychologically. What can't we see? What's going on in his mind if that's what he's letting us and his opponent in on?
Papadon realizing firsthand that Mysterio bloodline Papadon taking a lot of time here. Could pay for it. Mysterio gets a maybe third or fourth wind at this point. Gonna go springboard.
Papadon's in a real precarious position. He's got to get himself down from there.
Easier said than done. May come down the hard way. Both these men on the very top. Oh, this is going to end ugly.
Uglier for one than the other.
Top rope Hurricane Rana. Mysterio's got it. No.
These guys are both spent. Look at Papadon. If Papadon didn't know how to protect himself, if he wasn't a true in every discipline of wrestling, martial arts, if he wasn't a physical specimen and an athlete, he'd have a broken neck right now. Did you see with what force they came down from the top rope?
You think Papadon has a newfound respect for the Lucha Libre style, yet for these international styles that maybe don't fit in with the Greek style of wrestling from days gone by?
Well, if he didn't have respect for him before the match, I think definitely he has earned some of that now.
I would hope so.
Either that or a fear or a trepidation, something.
That may be more accurate. Papadon crotches Mysterio on the top turnbuckle. And now, contrast to a moment ago, it's Mysterio in a dangerous predicament.
This also isn't looking healthy.
Not at all. Papadon back to the very top. And second time also does not pay off for Demetrius Papadon. Mysterio signaling for something. Got caught.
This might be Papadon's last chance, though, because on it, you know, like I've been looking at him for the last little while, for the last minute or so. He's taken a lot of trauma so far tonight.
A pile driver. Papadon,
this might be his last chance.
He calls that variation "In God We Trust," and you can see why the pile driver's banned in most of the wrestling industry, but not here in Extreme Rising.
Including in Mexico. Including in Mexico. That would have been a foul down there, too.
The Greek god, Demetrius Papadon.
Papadon in what has to be considered the biggest match and biggest victory of his Extreme Rising career as he knocks off Hijo De Rey Misterio, who comes all the way from Mexico to continue the legacy left by his cousin 20 years before and bring that to new heights and new levels. That mission, that journey, just hit a big-time stumbling block on behalf of the Greek god. And what are we going to hear from Papadon now? We're not going to hear the end of the Greeks being the true inventors and perfecters of professional wrestling.
Well, you read my mind. Papadon may not have invented wrestling, but he is on his way to perfecting wrestling. What a big win for him. And I wanted to say before, what a big win for Devon Storm. There's such parity and there's such stakes that every win is almost like an upset, because when you win here in Extreme Rising, it means something and it's worth something and it moves you up the ladder. And when you lose and you have an excellent attempt and a valiant effort, it means you live to fight another day, and I can't wait to see that from El Hijo de Rey Misterio.
Yeah, this is professional wrestling. This is not entertainment. It is not a sideshow. Wins and losses matter. Competition is key. If you can't get it done, you're not going to be asked back. Both these men got the job done tonight, but Papadon was a little bit better. He got the victory, and what was an excellent matchup that will certainly go down in history here in Extreme Rising. Much respect out to both these men, as much as it pains me to say that about Papadon, who give himself all the credit and the props he deserves, and then some, certainly. A reminder, you can catch the past